I love wrestling. I eat, sleep, and drink wrestling. I'm an old school wrestler. I have great passion for the sport of wrestling. Mantar's Memoirs, we have a motto here, and the motto is, you only die once, but you live every day. Ooh.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. Actually, I'll get it right one time, Jimmy. The world's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. But you seem like you're a little bit out of gas after this week in wrestling.
Slightly off my game. Hey, I'm human. It happens.
You are a bit human.
Yeah, a bit. Thank you for just a little bit, a little sliver. Thanks a lot. Oh, God. Here lies Jimmy. He was a bit human. Ugh. Good Lord.
We had This Week in Wrestling where we kind of went off subject, and, we discussed the passing of Mike Halek, friend of the show.
Mr. Mentor.
Really great guy.
Yep.
But this isn't about this show, right? So, that all being said, Abe, you did a really good job on that video.
Nice job, Abe.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
It's hard for us to transition out of something so emotional, but thank God we have our guest because she is a ray of sunshine.
I also want to thank Bart for his tremendous work on the Wish You Were Here tribute to
Absolutely.
To Mike.
All right, let's open up with this, man. Yeah. World reacts to O.J. Simpson transgender news.
Now, hold on a second. We're just going to switch right back to being normal bozos? You're going to talk to me about O.J.? All right, well, we'll be bozos. Go ahead. Tell me what this bozo has to say.
Former star running back and infamous murder suspect O.J. Simpson claims that he has tried to stay away from the
That you're funny. Keep going, murder. Tell me what the murder
Away
suspect
from the subject
said.
of transgender women in the women's sports, and he is no longer staying quiet.
Oh,
so we're going to play the video and tell you what OJ had to say.
Well, there's a subject that I've tried to stay out of, but here lately it's hard to avoid. I saw Megan Rapinoe said that she would love to be competing against transgender women, and look, I'm all for it. I think, you be whatever you want to be. To me, it doesn't really matter. I remember years ago when I was a tennis player and I saw Dr. Renee Richards compete. Here was a person in their 40s that transgen, and the courts ruled that she could compete. And hey, she was pretty good. She didn't win any major tournaments. I think she got to a finals of a doubles once, and I think she got to the third round of a singles. But let's face the fact, even though she was in her 40s and never a great tennis player, being a biological male, she was able to do pretty well against the women back then. I see the girl in Connecticut is suing the state, the track girl, because never was able to get a gold medal in her junior and senior year because she was competing against guys who identified as female. I mean, they went through no medical or any change, but they just said they identified and they beat her. My thing is, why don't they treat it, especially in track and field, why don't you treat it like the marathon? Let everybody compete, but when it's over, have a category for female, a category for male, and a category for transgenders. Senator in South Carolina stated, what if Mike Tyson decide to identify as a female? Are you going to let him box women? I don't think so. I'm a golfer, and trust me, you could take probably the 350th rated a male golfer if he decides, well, now that we know women are making all of this money, but if he decides that he wants to identify as a female, trust me, you would probably be a top 10 female golfer. It just isn't fair. If you're born a male, you're born a female, I don't think it's fair in sports to have them competing against one another. Give them their own category. Let the trans compete against the trans, the female against the females, and the males against the males. I'm just saying. Take it.
Jimmy, thoughts? On Mr. Simpson's view on transgender athletes.
I just want to know, does OJ identify himself as a male murderer? That's about as much time as I'll give you, OJ. Fuck off.
Wait, you had no other...
No, I don't. Fuck off.
Right, with the language.
Damn it.
Last show where you're out of control.
Yeah, you're right.
I have to jump in.
Okay, fine. OJ...
You got nothing to say.
OJ, you're a jerk. Who cares? Is that better?
That's
that cleaner?
That is cleaner.
I feel clean. I feel wholesome now. So if OJ got a sex change of some kind, he would identify himself as a transvestite murderer.
Well, transgender murder.
Transgender. What's the difference anyway? I'm so confused. Can you break that down for me?
It is a little bit difficult. But
Transvestite,
I would say
transgender?
one quick
I don't
thing.
know.
Girl in Connecticut can't win because she's competing against men who identify as women.
Right.
Do you think she has a legitimate case? I'll slow it down just to make sure.
Entertain this?
She's a woman.
Yeah.
Can't win because she's competing against transgender women. Right? So these are men who identify as a woman, competing against real women.
Stick to your own lane.
Killing them.
Stick to your own lane.
So you don't agree with transgender in sports?
Stick to your own lane. You know what's scary? I might agree with OJ. Didn't he say that they should all just stick to their own lanes?
I think it's ridiculous at this point that they're talking about making a transgender category.
I agree. You want me to disagree? I agree. I agree with that.
And how about the tennis player who's
where
a man?
else are we heading here?
How about the tennis
player?
Like
you said, what if Mike Tyson, he actually... OJ's
wait a minute, though.
Points.
How about the tennis player who's a man,
okay. Yeah,
but he's a transgender, now he's a woman, and can't beat women at tennis?
Then you just
That's
suck.
pretty embarrassing.
You just suck, buddy.
It's like, you shouldn't be in sports.
Doesn't matter what you whacked off or waxed on. It doesn't matter.
Oh boy, unreal.
I get the cleanest, no cursing.
You're okay. You're all right.
I'm trying. Oy.
Gotta keep you.
I should just say oi on everything. That would keep
By the
everything.
way, we have a guest,
Yeah.
right? And she has her son, who's 12 years old, so
Who hits 230-foot home runs.
which is fine, but let's not.
He knows all the words.
You think he knows all the words? We'll find out. We'll
I
ask
think
him.
we will.
Ronda Rousey no longer holds half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. We're talking a little wrestling for a second. Right?
We are?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
After her tag team partner and longtime friend Shayna Baszler turned on her at Money in the Bank, the rumor is that the baddest woman on the planet may no longer want to be part of the WWE, is contemplating a return to UFC. Thoughts on that?
Well, if she fights CM Punk, she's winning. But that's about it.
Wow.
It's not
And she's not even transgender.
Ronda, it's not. Yeah, it's
And
not.
he's not even transgender.
It's not a good idea.
Punk should become transgender.
He might have more of a shot.
He might.
He did not do
win.
well as a male.
He did not.
Identifying as a male was not good for him. So yeah.
Let me ask you.
This is
Now that
really.
we're thinking about it, right? So I was a pretty decent athlete. But
Yeah.
I never reached the
I was
levels,
amazing, but nobody knows that. But go ahead.
But I never reached the levels.
Yeah.
Would it make sense just to claim to be transgender so maybe you could go further in life?
Wow, check out those boobs. Go for it. What are you telling me?
What I mean is, like, I put on a wig and I run. Like, I was fast. You wouldn't believe it now, but I was fast.
But Mary and Monte? I mean, what are we saying?
I put a
here?
wig on and beat everybody, and then all of a sudden
Right.
I'm winning Olympic gold medals.
Yeah, but then someone goes, whoosh, hey!
No, but I just say I'm a transgender.
That's all. You just identify.
I
with
identify as a woman.
That's it. You're safe. You're clear. Welcome to 2023.
just gotta say it.
Just say it.
When will the first person identify as a dog?
This is going to sound scary, but back in high school, David Sutkin identified as a
You
future.
can't name names
What?
on a show.
Oh, what's up, Dave? He said he wanted to be a puppy in his next life, so I think he was already pre-identifying. Don't you remember that, David?
Lawsuit.
What?
All right, anyway.
Why?
Upcoming shows, June 20th.
You know how
That's
many-
next Thursday.
many
We got
people with that name are out there?
WCCW legend Brian Adidas in a very rare interview. Should be exciting. And then
Okay.
right after that, on August 3rd, the unsung heroes that made the stars, David Isley along with
God.
Tommy Angel,
Okay.
will be in studio.
Okay.
All right.
All
And then
right.
I'm sure there'll be shows in between that. But then on
right.
September 17th, Barry's back. Barry
Okay.
Windham in studio. Top 5.
Awesome.
I'd like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte and the Pharaoh and Jimmy Pharaoh, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page. What do you do when you go to YouTube?
You like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Whew.
Go to Spotify,
I'm
Apple
really off
Music,
tonight.
and Reverb Nation
Oy.
to download their music. And if you didn't know it, you are watching Monte and the Pharaoh. You can catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page, Monte and the Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Get us on Twitch TV, and then if you're lucky enough to live in New York, where you'll catch this show in a consolidated.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
That's good.
Version
Abbreviated.
of this interview
Yeah.
with our great guest.
Okay.
On channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 and Saturday at 11:30 a.m. and channel 20 at Tuesday at 7 p.m.
What does this show identify as? What are we?
Wow. That's a
Man,
good
oh
question.
boy, I've opened up a can of worms.
I'm going to say we identify as a
You better make this good.
dog training show.
Is that what we are?
Yeah, that's what we are.
Now heel, armbar, drop kick,
Right, exactly.
roll over.
Where over 150,000 people watch us weekly and will be watching our guests.
There you
And
go.
the Baseball Scouts will be watching one of our guests as they
They
see in the
should.
future.
They should.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Also, guys, just a reminder, we remind you every week, and it's got to happen.
Yeah.
Download the Intuitive Network. It's a free app where you get movies, documentaries, comedy skits, music videos. It's free, and it's got such great, awesome content, especially who?
The flagship, the Monte and the Pharaoh. I was going to challenge you, though. You have to spell intuitive.
No, that's your part of
No,
this.
come on, man. All right, fine, I'll do it. IN2I.
It's off the screen.
I don't need it.
Oh, okay.
IN2ITIVE. Intuitive. Get into it. That was very affirmative, by the way.
It was.
I identify as an affirmative male.
There you go.
It's pretty
We'll
good.
be right back with our guest, the daughter and grandson of the iconic Adrian Adonis.
Very nice.
Who have been just recently, actually as recent as Tuesday,
Right.
Was the main subject of Dark Side of the Ring.
Very nice.
So we'll get into it with his daughter, Angie Perides.
Sounds nice.
All right.
Sounds
and,
good.
Everybody knows what a big fan I am of Adrian.
Oh, yeah, we
Always
both
have
are.
been. And you are too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We will see you in a moment.
Sir?
Ah.
Manscaped?
Uh-huh.
Have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped, what are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So Manscaped is a
You-
must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to
Oh,
go
I
do
know
the deed
where-
on a woman,
I know where
would you
he's
rather
going.
have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Well,
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start. Where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to
Wow.
wander into that.
That's
thought
very
of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that
I
landing?
just don't. I don't want. I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, look
but-
what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it! I found
have
it!
you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
Absolutely.
You're like, whoa!
Wow.
Yeah,
like,
I'm 46.
like it pops
of course.
out?
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's a
through.
trooper. He's a trooper. Gotta give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Yeah, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But
only
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break, and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick. All right, welcome back to the world's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh. Welcoming Angie and son.
There we go. It sounds like a show. Very nice.
We should make a movie on that. Angie and son. Wow, I like it.
Hi, Ange. Hi, son.
Hi. Hello.
What's happening? What is happening?
Angie, first I want to say I'm so glad from when we first met from I don't know how many years ago you were on the show. 2 years ago, maybe?
Was it that long? Can't
not
be.
sure.
Yeah.
No, I would say
Yeah.
maybe a year and change.
No.
What do you-
No, sir.
I thought it was like 3 years ago.
Was it like 3?
Yeah.
Get out of
It
here.
was a minute. It was a minute.
Oh, my God.
But like I feel like we're like friends. I do. I'm like I felt like I met. I have a friend, which I don't have many of, by the way. So
yeah, he ain't
that's
kidding.
important.
He ain't kidding. Well, it's obviously like family. She brought her son on and everything.
So
she feels
Angie,
comfortable.
let's start right off the bat. Thoughts on transgender
Oh, no.
men in women's sports?
What are you doing, Tom?
What do you think?
It happens at our school.
I'm not even getting into that. I had this one call me and leave a classroom when they were trying to show cartoons on transgender 2 years ago.
A year ago.
I asked him, I mean, you can switch over and play softball maybe. And what'd you tell me?
I said that's an idea.
He said only if I could be a lesbian, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So yeah, this kid.
And you're worried if he does, might hear a word he's never heard before.
No,
Anyway.
no.
Oh, I think the landing strip. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. These two caterpillars racing towards my nose.
Oh, my
Excellent.
God.
Excellent.
Man, here we are adding into the dysfunction of
He's-
today's youthful society.
I think he's the exception, to tell you
So-
the truth.
Being a young man, the athlete you are, what are your thoughts on men in women's sports?
Oh, just spit it out. And by the way, son, tell everybody your name.
My name's Cash.
There we
Cash.
go.
So what would you do if you were struck out by a girl?
What?
That was 3 years ago. Don't talk about that.
Would you go back into your room and close the door? I mean, my God.
It was 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know what happened. I honestly,
Just messing with
I don't recall that actually. But
Okay, that's good. That's
Were
good.
Mom
were you,
will throw him underneath the bus.
Wow.
yeah,
were you
but
ashamed? Were you ashamed of yourself?
honestly, I think she was on steroids.
This kid is great. He's not good. He's great. That's fantastic.
Wow.
Was she on steroids? Did you launch an investigation?
Well, I don't know. Her arms were like that big.
Really? She was beating up boys after class? It was like one of those situations?
Not just beating them up. I'm saying
Was she like, can you take me to a movie?
No, it was more like, you're taking me to a movie. She wasn't asking, what are you talking about? Why didn't you have your pitcher hit her in the head like Roger Clemens would do? You could have solved the whole thing in one shot.
Maybe, but we weren't accurate. They have the number wrong.
It's unbelievable. He's fast.
Wow.
Have you read the Pharaoh's books?
He's witty. He's
He
quicker than I
is.
am.
I like that.
It's
Well,
Yeah.
this is
it's a
already
family
getting
tradition,
to.
I guess.
It's really getting to a great start. So, Angie, thoughts on Dark Side of the Ring? How did you feel it came out?
I felt it came out really, really. I was pleased with it. I was kind of a little nervous about how they would portray it. I was pleased with it. I was really grateful that Bret Hart came on and said what he did. Thankful for that. Thankful the Spivey had said before they met in Japan afterwards, so that was cleared up. Everybody likes to say he gave away the jacket. He did not. I mean, yeah, he gave Piper the jacket, but that was not the jacket that he gave, that Piper passed on to, I don't know who it was, but there was a lot of talk. There was a female athlete that he gave it to. No, we had it. We lost it, and we moved a lot, and we unfortunately lost it in a move. But no, he did not give that off to Piper. The accident, a lot of people like to say, well, not like to say, but we're saying, they were drunk, they were on drugs. That was dispelled with with what he had to say on that. They were, there was the robbery afterwards. I thought it was really good.
I would say personally, usually we have a lot of guys come through, and we're personal friends of a lot of guys. So like Marty Jannetty is on the last episode this year, and I'm scared for Marty, right? Because this could be a major hit piece, right? They do a lot of this, but I really thought they came off making your father look really good.
Yes, I thought they did as well. We were kind of concerned on that, and then when we saw that, I was really pleased.
Did you have the right of refusal by any chance? Like if you saw it and didn't like what you saw, were you able to say, "Hey, no"?
We didn't see it till Tuesday.
Interesting. Okay.
And they have you guys under some. How does that work? Can you explain how that works? How did the whole thing come about? How did the producers reach out to you? Can you tell the fans out there?
So I did an interview with Hannibal. I did an interview with you guys, and after those two, it kind of took off. There was a lot of things. Tara, she is one of is with Darkseid had messaged me on Twitter and had messaged me on Facebook. And I had contacted my mom and I said, hey, this lady messaged for Darkseid. And then I talked to Tara and I said, well, I'm fine. I'll agree to do it if my mom agrees to do it. And she goes, your mom already agreed. So we got together at the ranch at my mom's ranch in Oklahoma and did the interview, which the guys were great that came out and did that.
How does it work though? So once they do the interview, they're building the documentary. At some point, again, I'm assuming they paid you guys. I would hope they paid you guys anyway. Is there like a hush order where you can't speak about it the whole time?
Yes, there was, just a contract saying that we're not going to talk about it. And then, even though Dave Meltzer kind of announced it before they wanted him to, I guess he was just excited. It was still like, hey, don't say anything. We have to wait on that.
Did you yell at Dave Meltzer? Because I would love the opportunity to do so.
No, I don't know
man.
him. I didn't say anything.
You passed up a golden one. I want to ask this question. I'm going to refer to your son as the Babe from this point on, as in Babe Ruth, because after all, he's 12 and he's hitting 230-foot home runs. So, Babe, how does it feel being the grandson of such a famous pro wrestler? I mean, does it even faze you? Have you looked into your grandpa's life? Do you care about wrestling?
Well, I would say that.
Look right here. There you go.
I would say that it's interesting, although I didn't get to see him. I have watched clips of him, and I am interested. Oh my God, that picture! I am interested in wrestling, and I was thinking about doing it last time, but I already started travel ball, so it kind of interrupted with it. So I'm thinking about doing it next year and just doing high school baseball and stuff.
Interesting. You ever think about being a pro wrestler? You got mic skills, kid. You ever think about that? Or does mom say, don't you dare?
No, mom says do whatever. Just, he's always going to be mommy's muffin.
Awesome.
He loves when I do that. I hold up signs
God,
for him.
he's cringing right now when you said that, but I would expect him to. That's okay.
Oh, they have glitter on them. I take my time, make it for him. He loves it.
Oh my God.
He loves it.
That's great.
Angie, one thing I did notice from the documentary, your mom, she still seemed like she loved your dad. It was amazing. Can you share your thoughts on that?
To this day, she'll tell you that was her best friend. They were very, very close. I think if he was alive, they'd still be married to this day. It's very hard for her to talk about things. I didn't, until we were filming this, I didn't really know how she found out that he had passed because she didn't talk about it. She'd go lock herself in the room. We didn't talk about it. She would walk away if we brought him up. It was, she couldn't do it. She would say little things like, the way that I walk reminded her of my dad, or my daughter Brianna, her eyes remind her of my dad. This one's, yes, the way how Cash looks reminds her. There's pictures how much he looks like him. But she couldn't handle it. She'd fall apart. I really don't know how. She was 28 when that happened with 2 kids, and I know that she stayed home and she had life insurance on him. They just got it too. I don't remember, a couple months. It wasn't even like a year. If she didn't have that, I mean, I think about that a lot. Like, what would we have done? Because she didn't go to school. She stayed home. She took care of us.
Being so guarded over the years and, being very private about her feelings and stuff, were you surprised that she gave Tales from the Dark Side permission to even do this?
I was very, because there's a lot of animosity towards Vince, towards a lot of it. I was very surprised that she did. I was very grateful she did it. I mean, I found out a lot of things. I didn't know about the jacket at the end of the scene. I had no idea. I knew that she bought the house while he was in Japan. He didn't get to see it yet. but I had no clue about the jacket until the end of that episode.
Being
So,
that you being that you did the documentary, is the communication between you and your mom about your father more open now?
it's about the same. I mean, I've only talked to her once, and she had my nieces over at her house, so they're twin 5-year-olds, and they're pretty wild. So I didn't really get to talk to her that much about it yet, but I know she was very pleased with it. I mean, last time in December, I had an aunt pass away, so we took flowers to Dad, and then my stepdad is buried next to him, so we took flowers to him as well. But my mom just still to me, just doesn't really verbalize that, doesn't speak about that. But I think that was the love of her life. That was everything.
The answer may be obvious, but how uncomfortable did you feel possibly with all the stories of, the cocaine and the drug use?
Not really. I mean, that seems to be, what people did back in the day.
Right.
I listened
True.
to a podcast of Fumi, and Fumi told me he saw him in Japan, and he told him, no more chemicals, no more alcohol, really. Maybe a beer now and then, and he was getting back on track for wrestling. I just think that, I look back and I was like, Mom, I remember you have a razor blade necklace. Mom, you have a 24 karat gold fingernail. What's that about? And she, just don't worry about it, Angela. Just don't worry about it. That's just what we did back then. Just
Right.
don't talk about it. I just kind of laughed, and I was like, well, I guess I shouldn't have been in trouble in high school that time that you caught me. And she, Angela, knock that off. And so she,
Good point.
I guess I didn't realize
Yeah.
the extent. But
There's-
we're not doing that,
I
right?
didn't know you got in trouble in high school.
Don't worry about what I did.
That was then, kid. That was then. Don't ask questions. Just hit home runs,
Yes.
launch angle.
Yes.
There's been so much back and forth about the car accident that took your father's life. In the end, it seems to be an accident. Are you comfortable with that? Is that the true story in your opinion, or?
So I recently listened to a podcast called Grappling Canada that had an officer on scene and 2 bystanders that helped.
Okay.
Officer on scene said that, they did a toxicology report, no alcohol, no drugs on scene.
Okay.
One of the bystanders said no. They were driving, they were passing a couple vehicles, and then another vehicle was coming and they got blinded and they swerved off. Another guy said he was holding my dad's head up out of water. It's very graphic. There's still, some things like my mother received a bill from the hospital for setting my dad's leg. I'm sorry, I've worked ER trauma a long time. You're not going to set somebody's leg in the middle of a code. The report said that he had a torn aorta, a ruptured spleen, and a lacerated liver. Those 3 alone, he would. I just don't know about that. A torn aorta, you have seconds. Like you're not. He was what they say. He was alive till he got to the hospital. In the police report, it said he coded, twice on the way to the hospital. It gave a better understanding for those people that were there, and I can't imagine the trauma, bystanders that were just there fishing that day that helped. And then the lady law enforcement that was on scene seemed like, and she worked the theft case as well. So that gave a little more clarity on there. But if you read the book Drawing Heat, which is a story about the Bear Man, it kind of paints a picture of, maybe it was they were, ran off the road, or for the reasons of, I guess there was bad blood between Vince and the Bear Man. And some things that it was a little odd. And reading some other things, I just don't know. It's just kind of, I guess it's always going to be, we just don't know that.
So, obviously you were much younger when this happened to your father. When you read these things, you hear these things, like, for example, it seemed like your father suffered before he passed. Does that still affect you to this day?
I think it does. I mean, I hate to hear that on there, that if you read the Grappling from Canada, he kind of kept coming to you and asking the same question of, about his family and about, help me, and that what's going on. And the guy said he kept repeating it. I hate to hear that he suffered on like that. I I don't know. I've seen, like I said before, working in the ER with trauma, I've seen a lot of things. I don't, before I knew, I mean, I always knew he was in a car accident. My mother never went through it. She would always just yell at us to buckle up because, our father was in a car accident. You need to be buckled up. I don't know why I went into emergency room nursing. Maybe there's a reason why. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I hate to hear that he had suffered like that at the end.
You mentioned Vince earlier with your mother. And you had a problem with Vince too. What was the problem between Vince and your mom?
I think that it's the same problem. I mean, he lied about the sports figures. My mother asked him, did you make a doll of Keith? No, we didn't get a chance to do that, as she's looking on the back of a wrestling magazine. Just flat ass lied to her. He, speaking to some other people that were friends of Dad's, I've spoke to, since I've talked to you guys, I've spoke with Bret Hart, I've spoke with Ken Patera, I've spoke with some other wrestlers that wrestled with him. Vince didn't want wrestlers to go to his funeral, such as Morocco couldn't go because he couldn't get out of an event. He just, he should have honored what he told him to do. I think that my feelings on it is that my mom blames Vince. He went, why he was in Canada. If he honored his deal, maybe he would have still been wrestling with WWF and he wouldn't have been in Canada for, the timing of the accident. That's my thought on her issues with Vince. I know that she said some things and they didn't air those things on Dark Side, what she said. I don't know if it would have caused a controversy or what, but I know that there's an issue.
So, in your personal opinion, obviously you don't know, Adrian was a huge character from when he was the New York bad boy until he became adorable Adrian Adonis. In your feelings, why do you think Vince let him go?
I had heard, so I know there was a dress code, and I know he would wear his sweatpants. I know they started fining him, and he just, okay, hey, here's, he would just pay the fine. Then my sister said something like he finally went to Big and Tall, and I said, I remember that he bought this khaki colored palm tree. The palm trees were white, but it was a khaki colored shirt and like mismatched shorts, and they said fine, he could wear that. But it was almost like a mockery of it. I don't know if that was before or after. So my understanding, his match with Piper for WrestleMania 3, he was supposed to take that. But then they came to him and Piper was going to retire, and he said okay. And he was promised WrestleMania 4 plus a bonus for shaving his head. And I don't know what else. Then when it came time to collect, Vince said, oh, we're going another route. My dad said, we shook on it. So then it was finally to the point he just said, F you. Ken Patera told me a story where he was there that night. My dad came down the hallway through the locker room, yelling F him, screw Vince. He's a lying piece of crap. And he left. And then there's a friend of my dad, Joey Gaynor. He's a comedian. Joey said that Vince was on the phone. He left Vince, said, no, we're not doing that. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to. I guess he was the first wrestler that Vince screwed over. Was on the phone with my mom, tried to talk him into it. My mom said, no, that's not my piece to do that. But that was coming from Joey Gaynor, who had a little bit more insight of the gimmick going to the gay gimmick. And Joey also said that, and I remember this, my dad did a commercial for Sports Illustrated before he passed. He was in a suit. It was like he was in a debate with another guy, and then he punched through the podium and pulled out the football phone. We had the football phone for a long time. I can't find that commercial clip anywhere. But I remember seeing it, and he said, yeah, he introduced him to his agent, and my dad was going to start doing some movies. So I know that kind of went off topic and went off round, but Joey had a little bit more insight about Vince, about what went down on then. So I don't know if he was actually fired, if he just finally said, F it, I don't care. Or if he walked out and left, or how that went down.
Adrian obviously had his friends in this business. Over the years, have some of the guys reached out to you over the years? I mean, I'm sure you've heard from some recently, especially with the documentary, but how about over the years? Have they gotten in contact
over the years,
with you?
No, they couldn't. Ganya? Greg?
Yeah.
Am I saying the last name right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Tanya.
So I had a message on Facebook about 3 years from a gentleman who asked if he could give him my phone number. He had been trying to contact us for a long time. So I had spoke with Greg, gave Greg my mom's number, contact information, and he's been talking with her. That was about 3 years ago. Then I had talked to Ross Hart, and so then Brett called me one day, and I spoke with him for a while, and that was about 2 years ago. So that was very nice to hear from him, and he told me I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to, there were drugs that I'm keeping it real. About how he was honored in to go to the motel rooms to talk to him, and how Dad and Neihart were like kids shooting spitballs in the airplane towards the flight attendants, and we're like a couple of boys, and
That's great.
he said just kind of rowdy and had fun, but no, I mean, because she didn't keep the last name. She didn't talk to my dad's friends in Buffalo. After she remarried and moved, she just didn't talk about it at all.
This question's for the Babe.
The Babe.
Babe, do all your friends, are they into wrestling, or is wrestling not the thing?
I'm going to say wrestling, I'd say not really popular for kids around like my age and stuff like that. I'm interested in it. I'm like, I watch it some here and then, but I'm more into UFC than wrestling. But I like, wrestling in the UFC and stuff like that. And yeah.
How come you're not into pro wrestling?
I don't know. It's not. I'm gonna be honest. It's not very popular, so I haven't been.
Do you think it's too fake?
I don't know. I'd say
She said the F word. What's going on here? Now wait a minute. It's not real? What are you talking about? Oi. Okay, all right. I'm crushed, but that's okay.
Like that. Well, we're doing our own UFC that we found out, and at his middle school they were doing Fight Club, and
He's not going to fight the chick that struck him out, is he?
Oh no.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
we found.
But so there was a couple kids fighting, and it was like this short kid that I don't like at all, and he always talks so much crap. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was fighting this other kid, and I had someone record it, and they sent it to me, and it was funny.
Yeah, I went through his phone, and he thinks he can delete. I wasn't involved, though. It was on your phone.
I wasn't involved. I wasn't there.
You were associated.
Oh, I love it.
You might want to develop some moves from Grandpa's move set. It will probably help you, because boy, could your grandpa go.
Well, that's Angie. That's an interesting part of the documentary too. Your father was a real bad A, right?
Yeah.
He grew up in the streets of Buffalo.
Bad A.
Well, I'm keeping it clean.
He's keeping it clean.
I'm
sure Babe knows what the A stands for, but go ahead.
Yeah, he would go down there, and I talked to Tony, and there's another friend, Joe LaBruno, and they both told me that. I asked Tony one day. I said, "Was he connected with people. And Tony's like, yeah, he would go do collections for my dad.
Oy.
That's what I said. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that part. And my mom goes, yeah, at the funeral, there's some mobster guys that came, had no idea who they were. You know, she met them previously when they went to Buffalo, but she didn't know them. But yeah. As Tony said, he was in federal prison at the time. So I was like, oh.
Wow.
Well.
Yeah.
All right.
So even though the babe's not into pro wrestling, the big thing that's happening now is collectibles. Is there any collectibles of your father that you still have that you hold near and dear to your heart?
We have a couple. We have the trophy.
Yeah, I have his trophy from 1983 Madison Garden.
Where is it?
It's in my bedroom at the top, on the top shelf if you want to grab it.
Trophy.
I remember him drinking beer out of it, eating pistachios. We were watching something on the couch and he brought it home. I have that. My sister has a scrapbook that a fan in Japan made him. It was her own personal pictures of mostly of him and Murdoch together, and then she sent that when he passed. I have the license plate from, it says Adonis 4. What else? Oh, I have a medal from Japan.
Okay, nice.
I'm trying to, my sister, when he would go back to Japan, he would bring back all kinds of stuff. So she has these swords that he brought back. But as wrestling stuff, oh, there it is.
Where is his leather cap from the early days? That's a nice...
It was a nice set on there. That, unfortunately, but yes, this.
There we go.
And what is that, from Madison Square Garden?
Does it have an inscription on it? I'm just curious.
It has a plaque. Where's the plaque at?
I don't think.
No, it has. I have a picture of the plaque. It's 1983 Madison Garden.
Madison Square Garden? Okay.
Yes. But it's in... put that up. Dad. But that encryption, and then I have I took all of that for Dark Side when we were filming. But yeah, I have that on there, and then my sister has some things too, so we kind of have those divided up. There was pictures, like some of these pictures, mostly pictures, all the stuff that we had before it, we have moved so many times that I had a trunk that I used to keep everything in when, I don't know, I was like 13, and I kept a lot of stuff in there, but the wrestling trunks and boots, those, I don't know, we lost along the move.
Oh, too bad.
I have his old planner from 1986.
Cool.
And it's crazy, a motel room was $42.
That's crazy.
Food, and then there was something for his hair. It was like hair was $13. You paid for that?
Yard Ape's out there. I don't know if he could answer this question, but he wants to know if you know what relax with Trudy meant.
He just made it up, my mom said.
Well, that's pretty good.
All right. Okay.
Oh, I still have his Pro Wrestling Illustrated 88 Editors Award.
All right.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And then, of course, I have all of these newspaper. Okay, so here it is. The 4th Madison Square Garden Series second winning team from Tokyo Sports Press, December 8th, 1983.
Wow.
Wow.
Japan involved in this one. That's interesting.
Well, yeah,
I'd
because
love to know exactly
remember
what
that.
this is, this trophy.
Holy cow. What is that?
Well, it must have taken place... It took place at Madison Square Garden, but it's got Japanese connections. Very interesting. Now I have to look into it. Now you've got me wondering big time. What is your favorite memory of your father? If you have to pinpoint it to one memory.
Pinpoint it? So he would buy us pets or animals or whatever basically we wanted. So we would go, he would take me to the pet store, and it was Thompson Pet Store. And he would buy me these little green lizards that were like, I don't know, $1, $2. I can't even think what they were. And then I would have them, and I'd keep them in an aquarium. They wouldn't live forever. But he would yell, go get him, and he'd hold my mom down. and we'd put them on my mom, and she would scream because they would just creep her out. And she would be laughing so hard, like she's almost crying, but I remember that. Then we were leaving to go to, we took them to the airport at LAX, and we would always stay in the hotel with the seagull in the bottom of the pool. And we would go to the pet store. Well, there was this huge giant rabbit that was bred, and my mom goes, well, I'll buy you that. Let's just come back. And he goes, look, don't you want this lizard? And it was this huge, I want to say like bearded dragon that was already grown. And my mom's like, no. And I go, yes, that's what I want. And then she got me afraid of it. So we ended up giving it to my cousin because she would scream. She would get onto him. But we had rabbits. We had dogs. I mean, he would just, yeah, you want rabbits? Here, I'll go get you and your sister. So we got 2 rabbits, and they ended up, one was male and female. And then my mom was so mad.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, we had turtles, but the lizards, we would hold her down and put lizards on her, and she would just scream and laugh. So that was that, or we would go eat sushi. I mean, back in the 80s when he would come back, we'd go have sushi, and then we would eat at a restaurant like Kira's. Just swimming. He just did. I mean, I remember like one time in Fresno, we were at the gift shop at the hotel, and fans came swarming in. They shut it down. He was like, just hurry up and get something. I remember we were in the neighborhood. I was riding my bike, and he was walking behind me, and somebody started calling him a faggot. Sorry. No, it's live. And I remember him just kind of like pushing me back towards the house. My mom would always say about how crazy the fans were, but I didn't see that. And I guess I didn't really understand, like, why don't I know that? Well, I listened to Fumi's podcast, and he goes, when he was home, it was family, and they didn't let her watch. It was totally different from home from wrestling. They didn't involve, the kids, when they did stuff at home, they did stuff at home. I said, well, that makes more sense.
It sounds like he was a lot of fun, your father. Is that fair to say? Like when you saw him, it was a lot of good times when he was around?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. That I remember. It was always fun. We were going to play. We were going to go, we went to I remember the first movie that I can remember is Harry and the Hendersons that he took me to. There was always something funny on. Like Spies Like Us, I remember watching that with them, or just, it was always comedies on. There was always, it was, like I said, we used to super glue moss to my mom's lamp of a naked lady. It looked like pubic hair, and she would be so mad. We've carried that tradition on now with her Christmas village that she puts up. My sister and I let the animals out and have people, looks like they're having intimate acts in different areas of her village.
You better be careful. I think your son might be taking notes.
This one.
Future pranks.
He is in shenanigans.
I need to document. I got my own.
Yeah, he has his own.
Oh, God.
That's what I was told yesterday at work, that I need to stay. They need to keep me busy. My patient load's been very low. They need to keep me busy so I don't have time for shenanigans. Another nurse practitioner and I, we hid the one doctor's car. We moved it in another parking lot. One doctor's on a dating site, and he left his phone open. So I put he was interested in men, and then hurry up and closed it. And then I got a text message. I put my husband in a dating app, for a gay dating app.
You're a menace. You're a menace. What's going on here?
Wow.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
Walks on the beach,
Yes.
holding hands.
This
Yeah,
Adonis
I put
thing
my
is very
husband-
genetic. Whatever's going
It
on
is.
here.
That's why
Yeah.
we shouldn't be at fault.
No.
So,
No, you inherited the fun. What are you
Angie,
going to
The
do?
gene.
hypothetical question, and hopefully one day it's real.
Okay.
The WWE comes to your mom and
Oh.
your family and says they want to induct Adrian to the Hall of Fame.
About damn time.
What do you think your mother or you say?
I would say my mom. I don't know. My sister has said that my mom would maybe say no. I don't know if she would do it just because of circumstances. I don't know. I think it would be more prestigious for him to be in the cauliflower alley. It's more. I mean, yes, it's prestigious, but they have a guy with a parrot on there before him.
Uh-oh.
I mean, he was in
Ripping on
WrestleMania
Coco.
1, 2, 3. I don't even know their names. I'm like, who are these people? Like, were you in the largest sellout stadium? Were you like,
Yeah.
could you really wrestle before you came, or were you
Understood.
just in the gym with muscles and wow, here you go, here's your trophy?
Yeah. Yeah. They put divas in
Participation
that have no business being in there, like Tori Wilson. But I won't, since you started dropping
don't
names.
even start.
I know, I'm going to get started here.
You mentioned before in the accident, and it kind of like went right by, but you said Bear Man had heat with Vince?
In this book, so in this book, it talks about they tried to shut him down all the time, the Bear Man. He had to go, like, they would report his bear, and it was, I had heard that Vince tried to sign the Bear Man, and the Bear Man said, okay, yeah, I'll bring my bear, and then tried to renege on the deal with him, so he said, up yours, and went back to Canada. After that, the Gaming Commission was on him all the time. He was in court a lot of time. If you read this book, it's drawing heat. It really it almost makes you think like, he had issues with two of the people in this vehicle. Like it's a little shady. It's a little shady that something, I mean, he was on him trying to just close him down at every turn. So it was a really interesting book. It was, I have 2 copies of it because at the back of the book, it has pictures of the second edition. There's pictures of my dad with weight loss with Steve Oceans 2 weeks before the wreck. There's experts in there. There's like little by Ricky Johnson. And who else? There was another person in there too writing about it, about after the wreck. Like how they had to get Davey home, how somebody had to drive the bear home, how they tore up the bar in the motel room. Like it's if you read it, it's a little. And the guy stayed. The writer actually stayed with Dave, and it even talks about the guy who robbed him. How can you rob someone that let you live with them and took you in for years?
For the fans, that don't know that, can you give some more clarity on the robbery that took place after the accident?
So a guy named Robbie James, it's in newspaper articles. He was 30 years old. He lived with the Bear Man. He was kind of one of the ring crew guys. Him, and there was another guy. That other guy, I don't know his name. He's OD'd. He's no longer. This guy, he went to the motel room after the accident and said he needed to get into my dad's room. And it was then that the motel manager said, no, I got to call someone. So he called my mom and said, hey, the motel manager said, hey, this guy needs to get into Keith's room. And she goes, put him on the phone. He goes, yeah, I'm going to get in there. I got to get the stuff. Like, there's an accident. She goes, Keith's dead. She goes, put Dave on the phone. Dave's dead. Put one of the Kelly twins on the phone. I don't know you. He said they're all dead. Hung up, signed for it, and went in there, and he's the one that took the money out of my dad's room. Got in the safety deposit box and stole it. He then, if you listen to Grappling with Canada, the law enforcement talks about, she talked to him, and it was a gray pencil case. He told her, well, the money must have floated down the river or down the current from the water, from the ravine. And she said they just had an idea with them. Well, then she checked, and he signed it out from the hotel manager. So this guy is the one that called and informed my mom that my dad had passed, then hung up. So my mom doesn't hear anything for 2 hours until law enforcement calls her. Because they didn't know their real names at first because they just knew stage names. And, my mom didn't know who to call, didn't know where they were at, didn't know anything. So she gets this phone call, and then that's it. So meanwhile, this guy steals. And it wasn't all his Japan payout money. He had met my mom and gave my mom most of it, but it was still, the law enforcement officer said it was $6,000. My mom said it was not that much money. She never really gave an amount. But they found him, and he was arrested. I don't know what he was charged with. I know that some people did get a hold of him. But he's still alive. found his Facebook page. So that was kind of interesting.
Wow.
But yeah, he goes and robs these people after he was nothing, homeless, nothing, and Dave took him in and he lived with Dave. And I've been on Facebook with Dave's son, and Dave's son's like he's garbage. He's nothing.
All right, Angie, we're almost out of time. We're gonna hit you with the Pharaoh's final question. We could have 2 questions, one for Ange and then one for the babe.
I have to come up with 2 questions? You're going to make me think twice as hard now?
There you go.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks a lot. All right. Babe, what team you want to play for once you get signed? Because if you're hitting 230-foot home runs at the age of 12, you probably got a shot on some major league team at some point. Say the Yankees, but what's your answer? What team you want to play for?
Well, it's not 230-foot home runs. That's a fence. It's 280s where, really.
Oh, I stand corrected. Wow. Easy there, steroid Sam. All right. 280 feet. Okay, so what team do you want to launch these home runs for, sir?
Boston Red Sox.
Oh, God. What are you doing?
No, his dad's favorite team is the Yankees, so we have to.
Yeah, that's not my favorite team, though. I like the Cubs,
Okay.
but I want to be on a
that.
winning team.
Yeah.
So,
Get a load of this. I have 27 World Series rings jammed in my ears. You're going to have to say that louder. That's rough. All right, so you're going to be a Cubby.
I want to win the Cubs.
All right, a Cubby.
No.
That works. That's fine. Wrigley Field's beautiful. You'll enjoy launching the balls over that ivy out there. That's good. Okay, Ange.
I wouldn't want to be qualified for fluke homers at the Yankee Stadium. Yeah.
What was that? What did he say?
You want to repeat that, babe?
What did he
He
say?
didn't hear you.
I wouldn't want to be qualified for fluke homers to right and left field at the Yankee Stadium.
Get a load of this.
This
I'm going to
is
get
great.
Reggie Jackson on the phone. Hold on a second.
Babe, you have any girlfriends?
Look at this.
And you're taking. Oh, sorry.
Look at this. You forgot your toes. Count your toes, too, while you're at it. He's humbled, too.
Are they all right? So, babe, are they good looking? Are they good looking women?
Oh, wait a minute. Of course they are, right?
I'm gonna say they're
You see
Cougars.
that?
I'm taking Cougar applications too.
Oy vey,
wow.
man. Are you
Nice.
serious? Wow. All righty. Oh, my God.
Wow.
This kid is wise beyond his years.
He is.
I think I'm going to be his agent. I think that would be a real good idea.
I think that would be pretty smart.
We're
Get it
going
while you
straight
got
to
a
the
chance
Cubs, and
now.
we're going to tell the Cubs this is how it's going to go. All right, that works.
Love this
Angie,
kid.
I'm just curious. We've had Mike and I. We loved your father. Okay, just as fans of wrestling, we loved your father. We always have, right from the first time we saw him, way back in the mags in the early '80s. Okay, so it's over 40 plus years of this. I will always, first impressions go a long way. I will always think of Adrian Adonis and Jesse Ventura, the East-West connection. So I'm curious, over all these years, have you ever heard from Jesse?
No. But like I
McMahon.
said, we've not. I saw recently he did a little interview where he said he was complimenting my dad, but he, I don't know, he seems very full of himself.
You think? Yeah, I heard
Well,
that's a conspiracy unto itself, but he's going to explore that with his own documentary next week. Yeah,
Well,
Very
I'll be-
witty.
thank you. I learned from the babe.
Very
I
witty.
did.
Oh, this kid. But I would like to thank you guys. I would like to thank you guys for having
Sure.
me on your initial podcast. Because I don't think without yours, or I want to say yours or Hannibal's on there, which he was the first one, you guys were the second one. Without your guys, that maybe Darkside wouldn't have contacted us. So thank you guys very much.
Well, no, I want to thank you, and it's an honor to meet you and consider you a friend. And as a wrestling fan, I was happy to see that your family and your father got a nice shake, a nice show.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
as much as we love your father, and so many wrestling fans do,
Thousands. Yep.
millions,
Yeah, you're right.
he is, I don't want to say a forgotten guy, but he's kind of like, people kind of just don't put him where he belongs.
They don't realize.
And he really does.
Oh, he was
I mean, you can look at it this way.
great.
I
Oh, my God.
loved him when he was with Jesse.
Yep.
I loved him when he was with Dick Murdoch.
Correct.
and I hated him when he became adorable.
Boy, did I love that.
But
I love that.
But my point
he was
is this.
so good at everything he did.
But that's what I'm saying. My point is,
Yeah.
I was a lifelong fan, and made me hate him when he turned to that
he
character.
was so great.
But I still loved him.
And what a wrestler, too. That physique was completely misleading. This guy could go. Huge fans, anyway.
By the way, that
should be
cup,
obvious.
Mitch has stepped in.
Yeah.
That cup is from the MSG Antonio Inoki
There we
Tag
go.
Team Tournament.
There we go. Mitch,
Oh, so we're in Murdoch.
How awesome is that?
nice call, Mitch.
I
Well
really
done.
want to thank you guys for coming on. Babe, what a pleasure to meet you. Pharaoh will be calling you to become your agent. So,
Let's
you
do
know,
it. Hey, I can count on my hands and toes, too, all the chicks. We'll have a great time.
we only get 33%
She's
of
like, no,
whatever
you won't.
earn. Thanks again for joining us.
On Tinder. I'm not on Tinder. Just saying.
It's the
But
best.
thank you guys for having me.
No,
You're
thank
so welcome,
you.
both of
Thank
you. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll
You guys
see you
have
along the way, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that was great.
How awesome is
That was
kid?
fantastic. That kid rocks.
We should have.
But his mom rocks. Like she's putting the
she's
people
awesome.
on date. She put her husband on a dating app.
Check this
That's
out, dude. What if we had a
classic.
back-to-back show?
Oh
the
my
Babe,
God, I know.
and then Sleepy Guy right after that.
The Babe and Sleepy Guy. Were you
my
gonna bring
God.
them in together?
No, separate.
Separate.
shows.
Yeah, because the Babe would probably be like, "What are you doing, sleeping on the couch?" and like pour something on him or something like that. You know, I could see him doing
He's
that.
freaking awesome, man.
He's hilarious.
Oh my God.
He's very quick-witted. I'm wondering if we're related. I am adopted, after all. You never know. He's
You
fast.
could be his older brother.
I could be, but that would be really bad for him.
But then you'd be related to Adrian Adonis.
That would be awesome.
How awesome would that
That would be awesome. I would love
you
that.
know, honestly, I love Angela. I think
She's
she
great.
rules.
She's
I
great.
freaking
She's
love
real people. She feels like real people.
Real quick,
Awesome.
before we go, Abe, could we pop up the? Oh, we have on top. It's tagged. Thank you, Abe.
What do we got? What do
We've
we
got the GoFundMe.
Yes.
For Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't. You know, as much fun as we had on the second show,
Right.
I still don't want to forget that
No.
we lost a good friend. The wrestling world lost a good wrestler,
Yeah, they sure
and
did.
the world lost a good person.
Yes, that's most important.
I think the saddest thing of the whole thing is
really
I
liked
think
him. He's
Mike
a good
was
man.
kind of having a resurgence.
He was.
He was.
That's why, to me, it's just like, why?
Yes.
But that's the natural reaction to have. Why? Was a really, really likable guy. Funny, too. Very funny.
So, guys,
Very funny.
you know, the original show was supposed to be about Stolen Valor.
Right.
Mike passed away.
Yeah.
So maybe next week we'll discuss Stolen Valor.
Yeah,
This
and
Week
our
in
little
Wrestling.
exchange with Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes, our exchange
Very
with
interesting.
the Sarge.
Very interesting.
Got to tell you, personally,
Yeah.
I love Sergeant Slaughter growing up.
Absolutely.
But I'm pro Lacey Evans, man.
I know you are.
I'm a big Lacey Evans
I
guy.
may be leaning with Sarge a little bit on this one.
Wow.
Well, I mean, what are you doing taking this look? At least call him first and ask if it's okay.
Really?
He's the Sarge. Oh, wait a minute. Let's not get into that.
Let's not get-
Let's not get.
Abe wants to
You
go
maggot.
home. Abe wants to go home.
Abe, you're dismissed.
Anyway, I want to thank you all. You know, Phil, one last thing. You said on
What's up, Phil?
one of the videos,
Yeah.
you said,
you got?
and I really want you to explain because it really hit home for me.
Explain.
But Phil said that he felt like Tuesday's Mantar Memoirs
Okay.
was like going to be his last one.
Really?
And I was
Well,
like,
we
whoa.
had a very strange conversation just hours before.
Yes, we did.
He passed away, okay? I mean, we did, and I was expressing my concern about Mantar's condition, and it was actually kind of creepy because I was telling Michael that I was so worried about his, his health and his build and all that weight that he was carrying around and his injuries from the business that I was afraid he had maybe 5 years the way it was going for him with his health. I didn't think it would be 5 hours, so that was extremely unsettling. So, Phil, please explain. Did you get the same weird premonitions or something? I don't even know what that was.
Abe.
I can't explain it.
Abe, what
was
does a
just
young guy
weird.
like you feel when you see someone?
You
like,
just
do
saw
guys-
him. You were here.
No, but do you think like 55 is old in your mind, or like I don't? It's
Now,
like,
be nice, Abe, because I'm
No,
55.
No,
be nice.
55 is way too young. It's way
Thank
too
you.
young. I mean, my father passed when he was 56,
Oh,
and I was
God.
a child. I wasn't even a teenager yet.
Right.
So
Wow.
I definitely have a personal connection to it, but
Sure.
especially hearing other people talk about it, seeing the family.
Yeah.
It really, it just sucks.
Yeah.
It's never good to lose someone. It's never good to lose someone while they're young.
Yeah.
It's still so much to give.
Yeah, he had a lot to get, and he was looking forward to giving it. He really was. He was enjoying doing the show.
Well, I think when the documentary comes out, people support it.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it could be a really good moving doc. You know how much I love docs.
I
right?
know. I know. And look at it this way: he's giving Scott Hall a power slam upstairs.
You ain't kidding.
He is. He's just like, I remember you. Come here.
I gotta say
yo.
again, the one thing, like you said, I was happy about, and I wasn't happy that he wasn't here to see it.
Right. The outpouring of.
Well, you know what though? We believe in an afterlife, so
Sure.
he did see it.
Sure.
It was nice to see all
I couldn't believe
the articles.
I was
on him.
blown away by that.
I mean,
I really was. It
I
takes a
almost
lot to
think-
get me going
I
like that. I was
almost
like,
think
wow.
like I don't remember. Like I don't even know if Scott Hall had that kind of action.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
he
mean,
did,
to be
too.
honest, but I was just let's put it this way. I was, number one, surprised. I'm being honest.
Right.
I was surprised at all the different articles on him. I was impressed with it. And when I saw the New York Post, the New York Post in this town is a big deal. I was
Right.
just like, oh, my Lord. And Mike would share sometimes, did I do enough? Oh, boy, did you ever. I mean, you got the Post talking about you. You did plenty, my friend. You did plenty. Good man. Way too soon. Way too soon.
All right, with that, again, we love you guys. Thank you for supporting us every Thursday. Thank you, Abe, for putting in such great
Nice job,
efforts
Abe.
every week. We love it. Thank you, Indie Music Studio, for giving us a place to broadcast out of.
Yep.
And we're going to see you next week, which is favorites of mine. I could do these WCCW shows
All day long.
All day long.
Yeehaw!
Right? We got
Terry
Brian.
Funk?
No, he's not WCCW, dude.
What are you talking about? He was Texas.
Yeah,
You
not
can't get more Texas
WCCW,
than
though.
Terry Funk.
It's not
I don't care. He's
WCCW,
Texas. He's so Texas.
gotta give me-
By the way, what kind of oversight is that by WCCW? Terry Funk? Who?
With their rivals, dude, right?
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
they were rivals.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then your favorite Dory would be,
My favorite?
you like Dory.
Bory? What are you talking about?
But we've got WCCW Brian Adidison.
Yes,
And then
yes.
the week after we got the
What
other
is your
side.
obsession, by the way, real quick, WCCW? What is your obsession with the fine state of Texas, who hated the Pharaoh, by the way, when
Honestly,
he passed through? They wanted me out of there.
Big time WWE guy, obviously.
Yeah.
But then once you got cable and then you started seeing WCCW,
Right?
Freebirds.
Yes.
I thought Michael Hayes,
oh, my
Terry
God.
Bam Bam Gordy.
Oh, God.
I was like,
They're so great.
I was in awe of them.
You should be.
I was in
That's
awe.
the fabulous
and then,
Freebirds.
And honestly, when the Modern Day Warrior came out,
Right.
Kerry Von Erich to me
Kerry
was
Von
like,
Erich,
this guy
yeah.
was like a Greek
Right.
god.
Right.
And he was like, to me, Superstar Graham-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Funny part about it is, again, I'm going to post it on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I have a, probably people don't, maybe, everybody knows more than I do, so I got to
Oh,
forgive
stop
me,
that.
right?
You stop that.
I have a DVD at home. It's like the guy who played the drums for the Freebirds. And I guess he was their,
Okay.
like, music manager.
Pete Best?
I don't know the guy's name. But anyway, he has all the recordings,
Right.
like phone conversations with Michael, PSAs,
Okay, yeah.
and it's all this crazy stuff, Farrell.
Right,
It's
right,
like
right.
it's so like obscure.
Right.
It's just a mess.
Boy, you must be all over that.
It's a mess. But the problem is, like, times have changed, right? And not a mess who
What's
we
up,
know.
mess?
It's not a mess.
Absolutely.
But in this world where you can't have CD players anymore, it's like I got to find a way to transfer this.
What do you mean
to
you
a
can't have? So
computer.
what do they discontinue CD play? Are they
Hey,
now like
right?
a-
How do you transfer CD to a computer
has
now?
a CD become like
There's
a
no CD
record?
player in
Abe?
these
It's that.
computers.
It's done.
Some computers still have CD drives, but for the most part, like I just got a new Mac a couple of years ago, and it
Alright.
has none. And I
Right.
CDs are done?
I have like movies. I collect DVDs. I
So
can't
now
watch
you've
a
got to
single
get
one of them.
like a extension to attach
Yeah.
to it, and on top of that, the thing is like it's crypted, right? So it's like you can't rip it from the DVD.
Oh,
so you got to get a program that rips that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and also they're just changing up all like the USB ports, so you need to get an adapter for your adapter.
Yeah. So
my
I guess the point
God.
is, it's not worth my time.
I just want to listen to the damn song. What is going on here?
On this thing, there's
That's
a couple
awful.
of things that's crazy. There's recording. So before Hogan, McMahon was trying to get Kerry Von Erich up here to become the champion.
Right, I can see that.
Then when he brings the Freebirds up here, and I don't know how true it is, but there's a call from Michael P.S. Hayes, this guy, saying that Vince wants him to beat Hogan to carry the Rock in wrestling.
Michael Hayes, and I've told you this 1,000 times, was world champion material. Especially
not as much as I love him.
No. In his prime, boy, oh boy, was he a show. I'm sorry. That guy, and he was the E in entertainment way before we were even thinking about the word entertainment. Vince must have been like gaga over Michael Hayes.
It would have been the biggest mistake of all time.
Maybe you say so, but it all depends on how it had been booked.
Listen, the way I look at it this way,
the biggest mistake of all time is Jinder Mahal, okay? Michael Hayes would not, in reflection...
Davio says, Terry Funk was born in my hometown, and he's not a Texan.
Man, that's rough, man.
Bam, you got busted.
That's just rough, man.
Anyway.
I associate Texas with Terry Funk. I know I'm not the only one, so I must be,
Again, we want to thank
crazy.
you guys. Rest in peace, Mike. We'll be thinking about you.
Yep.
Say hello to JJ.
Say hello to JJ. Say hello to Lanny.
Say hello to Lanny.
You may not want to, but say hello to Scott. Why not?
All right, with this, you want to set us out, big guy?
You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. And until next week, on behalf of my partner, Mr. Abe, rest in peace, Mantar. Love you, Mike. Later.
This life is tearing me apart. Love was all we really knew. I saw the beauty in this world all around. This life is tearing me apart. This life is tearing me apart. I didn't know it was nothing from the start.